first of all, has anybody got something that you would like to address, or question, or suggest?
My friend.
I'll wait for my bit until the end.
Okay, my only two subjects I've been thinking about are, one is the van situation. I guess we have one driver at this point, and in talking to various people, I'm told that the van could actually operate 5 days a week if there were drivers enough to do that. Yeah. And so I'm just wondering where things stand with advertising for additional drivers.
So we're still in the process of figuring it out, and I'm actually meeting with Margaret tomorrow morning to discuss her meeting with Dean Tran.
No, it was actually Harold Naughton.
Oh, Harold Naughton, yes.
And Dennis Lipka, the executive director of WRTA.
Harold drives? No. And how did that go?
That it was very informative. Obviously non-committal, but we learned that there are various options. So the way the state budget appropriation was made, WRTA would be purchasing the van, no matter what. Now, because the money was $60,000 to WRTA for the town of Berlin. So there are a couple of options. First of all, and I don't have all the details yet, I don't have all the answers. We have a lot of information still to gather. But the option one would be the one that we would assume would happen, that WRTA outright procures the van and hands it over to Berlin and says, Berlin, this is your van for the Council on Aging. Use it however you want, get your own drivers, do the maintenance, get the insurance coverage, it's yours, and then hands off. But then we found out there were other options that are available through agreements with WRTA and possibly coordination with other member communities of the Worcester Regional Transit Authority. They actually mentioned Northborough a few times. I don't know if we've ever had conversations with Northborough, but the COA director in Northborough, Kelly Ryan, is very active, and Northborough runs more than one van. So they run vans, Council on Aging vans, very frequently through their senior center. And it was mentioned or suggested that it might even be possible to have Berlin's Council on Aging go to Northborough to visit Northborough's Council on Aging, after the directors meet, of course, and talk about how their van service works for Northborough seniors.
Bolton also reached out to me. Bolton wants to, if we can, somehow work together and offer rides back and forth and share spaces and programs and things like that. Because we're both pretty much the same size. And they have the outreach coordinator, they have a program coordinator, whereas here it's just me, but we have the space.
Yeah, so I learned that there are other options. Now, one of the big questions that Berlin has had all along is, would the van travel outside of Worcester County? The simple answer is yes. It'll travel to Marlborough for as many trips as we need it. It'll travel wherever Berlin seniors need to go. Now, whether it's I don't know whether it would go to, say, New York City for a field trip to New York City. I can't answer that. I'd have to look at agreements to see what the limitations are. But it would make all the trips that we make now, and with some sort of cooperative program, it could potentially optimize the use of the van so that it could expand Berlin's hours effectively. So there's a lot more information that we need to find out here. I actually just reached out to, I copied Holly on this, I reached out to Dennis Lipka today and Connie Mellis, who's the Regional Transportation Planner at CMRPC, and asked them for some sample agreements or for some executed agreements between WRTA member communities and WRTA on how they use their vans. So there's more for us to learn, probably worth looking into these options. One other big a piece of this would be that if the van was procured through some sort of agreement with WRTA, where there'd be some regional component to it, WRTA would pick up the cost for paying all drivers, for insuring the van, for doing all the maintenance on the van, whereas if it was ours, we'd be paying all those costs.
And dispatch.
And dispatch, and you could do a regional dispatch too. So, yeah, it was news, it's kind of news to me, and
So I think what happens is, right, the town has to get the budget. We spend the budget and then they reimburse us the
Exactly.
money.
Yes. So they reimburse all the costs associated. Now, if we had a regional agreement or some sort of cooperative agreement with a neighboring town, there could be like, I have no idea, there could be an assessment involved or something like that. So there is a lot to look into. The other thing we talked about on Friday, not to belabor the point, but the other thing we talked about on Friday is, and I think I mentioned this to you, Peggy, is a survey. So they suggested that maybe some sort of community survey could be done to look at, a snapshot of today. Where are people going? Where do they want to go? How frequently do they want to go? So,
We already have that information.
I think, you mentioned that a survey was done a while ago, right?
When we were first considering starting the service, there was one done. I don't know where the results are, somewhere in the file, I assume.
Okay, yeah, so, maybe we could use that survey or do, a supplemental survey or something.
We'd have dispatch records anyway showing where
Oh,
people
yeah,
want
I
to go.
know.
A lot of trips to Marlboro.
Yes.
I get the impression that there are relatively few frequent flyers and that they account for most of the trips.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now, I think, what do we have, 23, 25 riders in fiscal year 19? But don't forget, once that river bridge opens up, there's, who knows, the potential there.
I know, it's all right.
Anything else?
No, if the WRTA does the maintenance, then that's not a cost we submit to them. They presumably,
I don't know whether it's through reimbursement, we'd have to look at those agreements, because I have not seen how they actually structure that. They said that Dennis said that they would do the maintenance. How it's done, we have to,
When I talk to Bolton, what they do is, again, they budget for everything, budget for assuming there's going to be repairs, absolutely everything. And then at the end, you submit all of your receipts, and then they cut you a check back into, so it's almost like it keeps revolving.
revolving fund.
End of the fiscal year. Wouldn't that require setting up a special revolving account then?
that I don't know, because a revolving account is actually, it's actually service-based. So it's usually through service fees. So usually it's from the fees paid into the revolving fund that would match the expenditures going out of the fund. This would be a little different in that it would almost be a reserve. It would almost be a reserve to be paid out through the reimbursement. So we'd have to look.
No, my question is, like Julie said, you can pay anything out of your account. But if money comes into the town, can you put it into a regular budget line item? I don't know that.
No, in this particular case, if money came back to the town through an end-of-year reimbursement, for example, that would go back to the general fund, because the general fund is funding that line up front.
Oh.
So it would likely not be a revolving fund, it would either be probably a general fund line item, or it could potentially be a receipts reserved for appropriation or something like that, but that's something we'd have to look into.
Do these discussions that you're having with the WRTA also include the concept that Worcester's fiddling around with now of potentially having fare free? Right now.
There
we
was
do,
mention,
right?
okay, first of all, this was a very preliminary meeting. It was the first time I've met Dennis, and actually the first time I met Hank in person too. But there was mention of the Worcester service, but I didn't get the sense that there's a direct connection here with this particular program. I could be wrong, but I didn't get that sense.
Maybe just the city buses, not the regional.
That could be, it could be that they're doing fixed route something down there, yeah.
So how soon do you see sort of definitive?
This is something,
Information.
when Holly and I meet tomorrow morning, this is something we're gonna have to talk about. My hope is that we're gonna get a couple of sample agreements to start looking at, and I'm sure Holly will be happy to share them with Council on Aging, so that you can look to see. I also would expect that we'll be reaching out to Northborough to see if we can get a meeting with them to talk with them about how their vans run. There was actually mention that, oh, maybe Berlin, they have a new senior center there. Maybe Berlin Council on Aging can go down and have dinner with seniors at their senior center in Northborough. We can talk about this.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we'll have to reach out to Northborough and have a conversation with them too.
Once that connection is established, we can jointly go over and shut down the Stinky Farm over in there, South Berlin Rotary.
Yeah, still working on it.
Yeah, he's getting fined.
So that's all I have at the moment, but Holly, Holly's going to be looped into this conversation, and we'll be talking with Northborough, and we'll be getting those agreements and start looking over the options, I guess.
Anybody else got something else on that subject? The other thing that has caught my eye recently is this Villages program. I forget what the other name of it is. A presentation has been made at Carter. There's going to be another one coming up at Carter. The same person is Elizabeth Fowler, PFAU, is from Bolton and has been working very hard to see if there's a multi-town interest in starting a village, essentially, of seniors in this area. She also is making a presentation to Berlin seniors on the 31st. And I had hoped that in anticipation of her presentation there, it'd be possible to get this, there's an online presentation discussion by one of the founders, I guess, of the whole program. It's a national program of what's involved, how it works, and so forth. I thought that'd be an interesting preliminary to listening to this person from Bolton talk about possibilities. So might be something we want to tune in. I think the concept is that people who are participating in it pay a certain amount a year, but they then have access to services. They need bulbs changed, they need rides, they need whatever, yard help, they need physical help. They can request it, and it's volunteer-based, but it's provided for them. If the costs vary from community to community, so that, for instance, I'm sure in San Francisco or New York City, they're considerably higher than would be around here. But space it out over the course of the year, and even a $300 a year fee divided by 12 comes out to not that huge an amount of money. But the offerings are extensive. So I would say, if that sounds at all interesting to anyone here, that you might want to attend either the Carter presentation, I don't remember the date of that, it's soon, or the Berlin Seniors meeting in the town offices on the 31st, and there's more information will be forthcoming then.
That's different meeting.
Is that your?
No, that's our regular monthly meeting.
And at 9:30 now, I think, right? 9:30?
Yes, yep, starting at 9:30.
9:30, and it's the third Thursday?
Usually the first.
No, the first is their luncheon.
First is the luncheon,
Fourth.
fourth.
Fourth Thursday.
Oh, right, I've got it written down. Lunch is the first Thursday, and the meeting is the last Thursday of each month. There's also and would be happy to provide rides. My wife and I are going down to a program in Pawtucket, I think it's Pawtucket, by people interested in doing something similar to this program. Or actually, it is somebody who's one of the regional mucky mucks in this organization, and I think it'll be a very illuminating gathering.
What did you say was the name of the woman for the Villages program?
Elizabeth Fowler, PFAU, from Bolton. Oh, yes, right there, it's in that. Oh, I said Elizabeth, it's Catherine, sorry.
I wrote Connie.
It happens and stuff.
They just had a meeting about organizing and getting, bylaws and tax exempt status and so forth for the very local group in Bolton last week that we attended, and that was also illuminating. This is a little thing on the program for anybody who's interested. You can have a peek at that. And
My turn. So just a recap on Meals on Wheels. For last month, we had 13 meals delivered on Tuesdays, and 20 meals delivered on Thursdays. That's actually increased, so that's good. I did talk to Pat Wheeler a couple of weeks ago, and to talk about the December luncheon. And she told me what you've done in the past, so I figured instead of reinventing the wheel, I'd call Buffet Way again, and they are available. So the date is going to be Thursday, December 12th at noon, and the First Parish Church is available. Pat had said that in the past she's ordered 55 to 60 dinners. I'm thinking, this is just my thought, of ordering 70, so if somebody has somebody at home. So I asked Buffet Way to give me an invoice, and so if for 70 meals, which would include a tossed salad, cornbread and butter, mashed potato, butternut squash, homemade stuffing, roast turkey, and apple crisp with vanilla, and the takeout containers would come up to $1,058.75. That's for 70 meals.
I'm hungry.
Turkey
Dinner
right?
sounds good to me.
Eat that and then you go to bed. So
and this would be for First Church.
this would be at the First Church. Does the First Church, Fran, do you know how many do they hold? I know when the seniors are in there, it's usually 55 to 60.
I don't know.
No.
If they hold 60, it'll hold 70. If we like that.
At least, yeah.
And what I'm hoping for too is that there's been a couple of community members, one of the Girl Scouts, who helped us last year to do the Christmas bags and things like that. So I'm hoping that we can get enough things donated so everybody who attends leaves with some kind of Christmas
People
package.
really liked those.
Yes,
last year.
yeah. So they said that they're going to be working on that, and the schools also said that they didn't mind sending out flyers for us too.
Is there entertainment with that, or?
So there is entertainment, and I'm using the same girl that did the seniors luncheon over at Northbrook Village. She's an acoustic singer, and she can sing all of the holiday songs and everything like that too, and everybody really, really enjoyed it. People stayed.
Sing along.
Yeah, people stayed afterwards just to see her. They were done eating, so it was good. And she was one. Her cost is $150 for an hour and a half.
Would she be able to print up words for some of the songs?
Oh sure. You know what? And if not, I'll print them up and as we go along. Yep. I have completed the formula grant. My signature is on it. Bob's signature is on it, and I'm meeting with Margaret tomorrow to hopefully get her signature on it. It's the same since the 2010 census, so we should be expecting $8,544.
When does that come?
Pardon?
When does that come?
It doesn't usually come until, I think it was March last year it came in, but accounting does really well, and since it's a given that we'll be getting the funds, so if we have to use it for some reason, we can.
Okay.
Then there's just two, well, we already talked about the van driver, and then Margaret, maybe you can give us more information too, because I've been going back and forth. So I don't know how many people are familiar with the age-friendly community program that is offered. I found it offered through AARP. And what I did was, it's hard for me to sum it up into words, but it's basically giving us more resources, I believe, to offer better living to our seniors because of economic status, social status, physical status, all of that. So what I did ask was to see if there was an AARP member that would come out perhaps to our next meeting to just kind of tell us a little bit about it. There aren't that many communities out there with it. You do have to file an application. There's no fee involved. And it says something about monthly they come out and offer, like I said, more resources to those that may need it. But there was so much information that it would be easier for somebody who really knew what they were talking about to come and do it. So I just sent out that email, so hopefully we can get them on our next agenda. If not, I did tell them, perhaps we can make another date and do it in the evening and invite whomever, just in beyond our commission.
So North Brookfield just became the very first community in this region to become an age-friendly designated community. And CMR, the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, has been working, I think, with AARP to help communities get their applications in for designation. So if you're able to line up AARP, I could reach out to CMRPC to see if we could have a rep from there attend as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
And try to coordinate.
So what exactly, you don't know? 'Cause
What exactly?
do we get, because what I figured, it just sounded like more resources, more people to help us out is what I kind of got from that.
Yeah, I think that is a big piece of it, but I also got the sense there is some funding involved that would help promote age-friendly communities. So for example, and I might have mentioned this at the last meeting, if you have long stretches of sidewalk, maybe to put, benches in, as kind of places to rest and things like that, there might be some funding attached to that. So.
That's the program.
That is it. That is the program. It's online. There's a lot of information that goes with it. But it all and it doesn't seem like there's any month that you have to do it. It seems like it's always open. So that's good too, because a lot of things, as you know, will start at the
It's also not up and running because you want it to. It says entering the network is step 1, step 2, planning phase 1 to 2 years. Step 3, implementation and evaluation, 3 to 5 years, and continuous cycle of improvements, years 5 and beyond.
The great thing is I did read in big bold letters, free of charge. That's all I. No more budget things. So why not look into it? And that's what we're going to do. So hopefully we'll have some more information before the next meeting.
It could, excuse me, it could be a good opportunity too to invite the Berlin seniors representatives in to join Council on Aging to listen to this and maybe join forces in working on this.
Yep.
We know anyone who's on that?
I just want to backpedal a little bit. Do we need to vote on the December luncheon about moving forward with it? Because I'm going to be putting my newsletter to print to send it out. I always send it out on Friday, that way I can pick it up by Monday, this Friday. So.
I think we do, and I think we need to also vote on the budget for it.
Okay.
Let's.
Yes.
So I only have one copy here. So the meals a piece were $13.75. And on Pat's recommendation, she had said that in the past it was 55 to 60 meals. And I just feel as though the COA has grown in the last year that I've been here. And the word gets out working between the two groups. That's why I felt that more necessary to order more. And let people take a couple home if they wanted to. So again, the total for that was $1,058.75 for December 12th on a Thursday at noon. In addition to the $150 for the music.
Somebody want to put that in words?
So moved. Anybody want to second it?
Let's do it. That's what the proposal.
Moved and seconded. Have to phrase it as a proposal?
Yeah.
All right. Wow, stick with it.
Speak slowly.
I propose that we expend the $1,058.75 plus $150 for the singer to fund senior luncheon at First Church, Thursday, December 12th at noon.
And we have, well, how much do we have in the donation account? We have $4,863.10. So we could use that money donated.
Do you want that added to? from the
That's what I'm
donation?
asking. Or we can take it out of the COA expenses. It cannot be used from the formula grant.
So the donated money, is that earmarked for anything specifically? Or
It has
just-
not been in the past. We do have the driver's money that keeps coming in and the Tai Chi, which we should separate, but it has not been in the past. At least no notes that I can find. I don't remember who your last chair was before George, but there's like, who's that?
Joyce.
Joyce.
Joyce wouldn't remember.
So we could certainly take it out of the COA expenses. There's enough money in there. I think it has come from that account in the past.
Okay, so let's continue on that line and to appropriate the funds from the COA expenses.
Can I tell you something? I just want to point out, you won't have the additional expense that you normally had for mileage for the van. So you.
Right, and that's what hurt us last year, was the reimbursement of the mileage.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money doing that last year, but we're not doing that this year.
Anyone got a second Bob's proposal?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, that's good, because I didn't have to say no soup for you.
Although I would paid money to hear that. That's funny. I think that is all I have at the moment.
Anybody else have any other items to discuss?
One of the elders asked if we couldn't put out or find meals for 1 or 2 recipe book to encourage the seniors to cook their own meals.
Ah,
So doing a COA cookbook? So something
Pretty neat.
simple?
Love that. I'll buy one. I'll pre-order one.
is that, and it should include a photograph of a recipe provider. So do we need a committee to put this thing together?
I don't think we're gonna put it together, or I don't think they do that. I imagine there are recipe books out there.
So
I must investigate.
wait, are we purchasing already made books to give them to seniors?
That's what I would do. But if
Oh, to
somebody
have,
wants
just
to
have
put it
them
together-
available if somebody wanted them?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask Berlin seniors to submit their favorite recipes and make a book of
Could do
those.
that too.
Discussion supplement with existing recipes if we find something else.
If everyone's recipe is
Yeah.
exactly the same as everyone else's, reach out.
So you're probably looking for pretty simple recipes and
I
easy,
would say so.
easy to make.
Yeah, like 4 ingredients or something.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do in the last newsletter. I tried to pick those recipes that I thought would be in somebody's cabinet,
Yeah.
perhaps.
You could title it Berlin seniors are cooking.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah. So I think that's a good idea, so we should look into it. Maybe we could all do a little homework on that.
I have one other thing to mention.
Sure.
When I was making calls to local businesses for a home day, Berlin Farms, in conjunction with Holiday Farm, I believe, and I have to reference my notes, but I just thought of this. They would be willing to have like an afternoon ice cream social for the seniors.
Oh,
That's on
them.
62?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we were asking if they wanted to donate anything, and said, well, it goes to this and that, and the conversation from there went, well, I want to give something to the community, something that you'll use, paint a house, you know, offer ice cream. And I said, well, I'm a member of the Council on Aging.
So would it be to go
The
there?
conversation sort of segued,
So
but
would it be like a little, like,
if
little,
that, I mean, there's
afternoon
not a
trip?
ton of parking there, and it might be difficult for people, but maybe they could just bring over, you know, tubs of ice cream and we could do something here
Well, that'd be
or somewhere else where it is more convenient.
Mhm.
But I thought, oh,
Doesn't
we would
Berlin
love to
Farm
take
have a
advantage
big
of that.
indoor area?
They do, and they were doing something with it recently. I haven't been in since, I don't know what the plan was,
No, standing mystery, I think.
I've been there in the past
Yeah, I know they
during
had
this time of
freezing.
year, and they have like, they start to put out Christmas ornaments and
Yeah.
have like honey and maple products and, sit down please, and sell soup and things, but, it's not really set up for people to sit down. I don't, the way it was in there was a ton of merchandise on display, so it would be a lot of work to figure all that stuff out and put
I
tables
think
on.
an exported ice cream social would probably, and then,
Yeah,
as you say, you could do it.
Yeah.
Here.
bring the ice cream.
maybe
This
have
is-
something else going on at the same time while the ice
yeah.
cream is
So
being,
I thought that was pretty cool.
I like it,
So we
so
have to revisit that. maybe
Sure.
warmer.
I nominate
Or
you.
maybe not, we could really change it up, you know?
If you were Russian or
Ice cream.
Norwegian, you do it right in the middle of winter, because they're just into it all the time.
Yeah,
No, I like
Is that
that.
something you can,
I can reach out again.
Can you spearhead that one?
Sure.
That would be great. And then maybe you and I can work together and try to figure out how we can
Yeah.
make an afternoon out of it.
Mhm.
That would be really good.
so are we gonna, are you and I gonna go round up a bunch of recipes from Berlin seniors?
I think, if you want.
I'll put it together when we get all recipes.
Oh,
Ooh, that's really good.
come together.
Mhm. My next, I was gonna say, there's no really,
So our next meeting, if we've discussed everything on this one, next meeting would be the fourth Tuesday, November. And I'll have to know my rule.
I think it's week of Thanksgiving. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay, let's get into, right, I'm just showing my brilliance in using my iPhone here, because all it's doing is giving me bad information, stop that. All right, right, I'm getting exactly 0 on this. Okay, somebody else look up the date.
The 26th.
26th, there we go. Next meeting, 26th, same time, same station.
Yep.
Your motion to adjourn?
Sure.
All in favor?
Great. You're so good. I didn't even know you were here. I know, I like your water bottle.
She was like ready to